Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. No crazy, over-the-top intro today. I'm drained. I really am drained. I'm drained. It is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. It was a long, gloomy day yesterday in the state of New Jersey. It was cloudy, it was cold, 46, 47 degrees. Looked like it was going to rain. It didn't end up raining, but it looked like it was going to rain. I was lazy. A lot of people were lazy. A lot of people were worn out. A lot of people were just tired and unexcited. And I'm not sure if it had to do with Survivor Series, but I was already tired, unexcited, and just flat out lazy from the moment that I woke up on a Sunday. It legitimately felt like a lazy Sunday. And I usually never have those lazy Sundays. I'm usually a very active guy. I never really just want to become one with my bed, even though I'm technically married to my bed. I usually get all my sleeping done in the morning. I wake up around 11:30 when there's no work and no school. And of course, I'm going to be a fucking bed potato. But most of the time, once I'm up, I'm up. I didn't feel that way on Sunday. It didn't really have anything to do with the Survivor Series just being completely underhyped, poorly built, but the Survivor Series didn't help. The build didn't help, and it feels like that we say it every single time how the Survivor Series absolutely has a terrible build, or every single main roster pay-per-view has a terrible build. We had the worst WrestleMania build of all time, the worst SummerSlam build of all time, the worst Money in the Bank build of all time, blah, blah, blah. I can honestly say, and I'm not trying to be cool. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm not trying to play up to my heel gimmick that I play. I'm not even playing a gimmick right now. I'm being 1,000% genuine. I'm being real. The Survivor Series probably had the worst build of any wrestling pay-per-view. And I'm not just talking about WWE. I'm talking about any wrestling promotion on the face of the planet, any wrestling pay-per-view that there's been this year. I can tell you that the Survivor Series had the absolute worst pay-per-view build of the entire year. Completely lackluster, completely unexciting, completely underhyped. Now, before we go any further, we're already 3 minutes into the video. Before we go any further, was it a bad show? No. Was it a terrible show? No. It was nowhere near terrible. It wasn't even bad. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably going to label this the second best main roster pay-per-view of the year. The first being the Royal Rumble. I don't think anything's going to come close to the Royal Rumble. What we got was a fairly decent Survivor Series. Nothing that's going to blow anyone away. But we got some good wrestling. We did get some good wrestling. We did get a lot of people, surprisingly, and I'm actually surprised that WWE actually did this, WWE actually protected a lot of people. WWE actually protected a lot of people at the Survivor Series. We did get the quote-unquote final farewell of The Undertaker, which I'm actually surprised nothing happened, and nobody attacked him. But by the end of it, Survivor Series will ultimately end up being the most meaningless pay-per-view of the entire year for the WWE. Because there was simply nothing on the line. There was nothing hanging in the balance. Nothing was at stake. No Royal Rumble implications, no WrestleMania implications, no SummerSlam implications, no title defenses, no money, no can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Nothing was on the line. Nothing was at stake. So at the end of the day, WWE, aside from The Undertaker, tried to build the show poorly on a non-existent warfare between Raw and SmackDown that results in nothing but bragging rights, and so much so that they didn't even keep a scoreboard. They didn't even keep a scoreboard for the Survivor Series. That was the first thing I noticed. They didn't even keep a fucking scoreboard for the Survivor Series, and that tells you all you need to know about who they really wanted to build the Survivor Series around. They built the Survivor Series around The Undertaker, and The Undertaker didn't do anything, barely even said anything. Nice tribute. We had a couple of people out there, but by the end of it, how many farewells can you get? How many farewells can you get? Nothing happened, although I do have a feeling that something may happen at WrestleMania. Something may happen at WrestleMania. We'll see. But the WWE mainly built the show around The Undertaker. They built the show around The Undertaker, and they built everything Survivor Series related around The Undertaker, so much so that they didn't even bother keeping score. And by the way, Raw won the Survivor Series. We got a fairly decent Survivor Series. We got some good wrestling. We're going to go over everything. A lot of people were protected, which I'm actually shocked about. The women's Survivor Series match was excellent up until the ending. The men's Survivor Series match was poorly booked. We're going to go over everything. We're going to dissect everything Survivor Series related. I'm a little drained. I'm a little lackluster. I have work. I'm literally going to work right after this. I have to go to work right after this video. Then I need to get 2 more finals done before Wednesday. I'm working tomorrow as well. We got Thanksgiving on Thursday, and then we're jumping right into the road towards Christmas. Of course, the Lightning Flash update will be on Saturday. It's a busy week for me. I'm pretty sure it's a busy week for everyone. So I apologize in advance if I am not as hyped, if I'm not as upbeat, if I'm not as charismatic as I usually am. I'll probably catch it at some point. I'll probably catch myself at some point as I go along with the show review. But nevertheless, this is the rewind for WWE Survivor Series. I'm the one and only DJ Storms, Mr. Controversy, the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Yada, yada, yada. You already know the drill. Before we get into the rewind for Survivor Series, before we dissect everything Survivor Series related, a couple things. Please follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. Follow me on Instagram and Periscope at TheDJStorms. I'm thinking about doing more Periscope streams, but I don't know. I was thinking about it at first, and then I did a poll on Twitter. Now I'm not so sure because for the majority of the 2-month break that I get off of college, I really just want to just be lazy. I really do just want to be lazy. I want to relax. I want to enjoy the holiday season. We'll see what happens depending on if my state goes on lockdown or not. But regardless, follow me on Instagram and Periscope at TheDJStorms. Add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. All the links are in the description. If you guys missed the Lightning Flash update, we hit another grand slam with the Lightning Flash update. We are over 120 views. We are over 30 likes. You guys absolutely killed it there for the Lightning Flash update. I'm sorry about the trolls that were in the chat. But they have since been blocked and reported. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. Fair warning. Don't fuck with me. I'm actually, you know how much I don't care and you know how lazy I am? I didn't even realize what shirt I threw on. I'm literally wearing a Young Buck shirt for a WWE pay-per-view review. I just realized this. Killing the business. Matt and Nick Jackson. So, aside from the trolls, we did have a great Lightning Flash update. We had a great time on Saturday. The link will be in the description if you missed it. No, there will be no dabbing. Just pointing that out there. There will be no dabbing in this video. Maybe on Saturday, if Danielle and Jessica join the chat. Maybe I'll do it again. Depends. But we can't abuse the dab. All right? So, chillax. If you guys haven't already done so, we're almost 10 minutes into the video. Please hit the thumbs up. It greatly helps out the video. It greatly helps me get into the eyes of more and more people. It helps the video become much more popular. It gains me a lot of traction, a lot of attention, and which I do want to gain. So please like the video if you haven't already done so. We're going to try and get this video to 30 likes. If you haven't already done so, please comment in the chat. Keep the chat rolling. talk amongst yourselves. You can talk amongst me. I of course am moderating the chat. I mean, who else is going to moderate the chat other than DJ Storms? So keep the chat alive, and when you keep the chat going, please share out the stream on all platforms of social media. Share out the stream on all platforms of social media, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, Tumblr, wherever you share out your YouTube videos or my YouTube videos on social media, whichever platform you choose to share it on, please share it out. I would really appreciate it. Get more people in the chat. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. YouTube is purging my subscribers again because YouTube is run by a bunch of fucking cocksuckers. And of course, when you hit the subscribe button, please hit the notifications bell so that way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. It is ultra, ultra, ultra important because I want to gain as many views and likes as possible. That's why I do this. That's why I do this. Aside from the fact that I love it, I do it because I want to expand and I want to grow the brand in every way possible. Anyway, we are going to get straight into the review here. We started off on the pre-show with a dual-branded battle royal between members of Raw and SmackDown. We had Ricochet, Elias, Jeff Hardy, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, The Miz, John Morrison, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, Murphy, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler, and Chad Gable. So Morrison, he got eliminated first. Kalisto then went out after a brief altercation with Rey Mysterio. Rey then got tossed out by Ziggler. Garza got tossed out by Carrillo. Or Garza tossed out Carrillo, excuse me. Garza got tossed out by Cedric. We had Ricochet delivering a half Nelson suplex to Cedric on the apron, eliminating him. Benjamin then kneed Ricochet out of the ring, and then Crews eliminated Shelton. Murphy then got tossed out by Roode. Dominic then tossed Roode. Dominic then eliminated Ziggler. We were down to Shinsuke, Hardy, Elias, Dominic, Gable, and The Miz. So Shinsuke with a Kinshasa eliminated Apollo Crews. Hardy then eliminated Shinsuke and Elias. Gable eliminated Hardy. Miz went over the top rope, but he slid back underneath the bottom rope before Dominic kicked him out of the ring, and the refs ruled that he was not eliminated. We had a nice back and forth between Dominic and Gable, actually. Gable with some belly-to-belly suplexes. Beautiful overhead throw. Dominic missed the 619, but he caught the second 619. Gable was eliminated, and then Miz snuck back in for the sneaky elimination, and The Miz got the win for Team Raw. He got Raw on the board with a 1-0 lead. Listen, not that it really means anything, because this was nothing more than an obligatory 7th match, because WWE realized, oh shit, we have 6 matches, so we can't play up the fact that it could tie. We need to get a 7th match on the show. Oh, we got a pre-show. Let's do a Battle Royal. So they got the obligatory 7th match on the show, and it meant nothing in the end. Nobody was going anywhere. It doesn't matter who won this match, but for fuck's sake, you really, you couldn't have given the win to a fresh face like Murphy or Gable or Ricochet or Crews. Hell, I would have even taken Dominic Mysterio. You give it to The Miz? I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit whether he's Mr. Money in the Bank or not. It is irrelevant. The Miz is a dead act. He is worthless. Maybe you could have given the win to Apollo Crews. Maybe you could have built him up. Maybe he could have used that win to actually propel himself to an Intercontinental title match, a rematch with Sami Zayn, since Sami Zayn chickened his way out of the match that they had 2 weeks ago on SmackDown. Maybe you could have given the win to Murphy. And you could have continued Murphy's momentum after his big win over Seth Rollins this past Friday on SmackDown, in which he beat Rollins clean. You could have continued his momentum heading to hopefully an eventual Intercontinental Championship match with Sami Zayn. You could have given Cedric or Shelton Benjamin the win. Could have given Ricochet the win. You could have built up Ricochet. Could have given Chad Gable the win. Out of everyone in the match, you had The Miz win. Hell, I would have even taken fucking Elias over The Miz. I would have taken Elias over The Miz. You couldn't have had a fucking fresh face win the match. If Raw was going to win, why didn't you just have Ricochet win? What is your fetish with The Miz? It doesn't matter whether The Miz gets the win or not. It doesn't matter whether he's Mr. Money in the Bank or not. You have absolutely killed The Miz. You've killed The Miz to a point where no one's going to take him seriously, no matter if he starts getting wins. Whether it be on his own, whether it be because of John Morrison, whether it be because of Maurice coming back, or his fucking kid, Monroe Sky, interfering in his matches. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether The Miz starts getting wins under his belt or not. The Miz has absolutely been buried in every way, shape, or form. Whether you want to admit it or not, The Miz is a dead act. He's a dead character. He's brought zero prestige to the Money in the Bank briefcase. Matter of fact, the Money in the Bank briefcase actually looked better on Otis than it does on The Miz. And I don't even believe I'm saying that. Of course, Nathan Best from the UK will get a hard-on because of that. I know you're watching. Out of everyone in the match, you had someone who is as dead can be win the match. I don't give a shit if he's Mr. Money in the Bank. He didn't even play into effect later on in the night. And he looked like a fucking idiot. Who cares? The Miz wins, means absolutely nothing. I am absolutely fucking ashamed of everything that WWE did with this Battle Royal and how terrible they've treated their mid-card and their tag team division. So the main show started off with Team Raw. We had Matt Riddle, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, and AJ Styles versus Team SmackDown, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, Otis, and Seth Rollins. So AJ Styles took the mic. He was interrupted by Riddle. Keith Lee, he got new theme music. Thank God. Thank God he got new theme music. Still don't know why they took away his old theme music, and don't give me the CFO bullshit. Still don't know why he took away his old theme music. I'm actually pretty pissed off that they took away his old theme music, but his new theme music, 1,000 times better than the theme music he had before. It almost feels like he actually has an identity, which I can appreciate. So, the rest of the individuals made their entrance. Team SmackDown came out, and we begin. So, after a few back and forths between different members of Team SmackDown and Team Raw, Rollins tagged in. He looked at his teammate. He said, "This is for the greater good." He got on his knees, and he shouted at Sheamus, "Do your part." And Sheamus bro-kicked the ever-living shit out of Seth Rollins, flush on the jaw, and Seth Rollins was eliminated. He was the first one eliminated after about 7-8 minutes. This was an absolute fucking shock to a lot of people. I was not expecting this. This was highly unexpected. I don't know what the reason is, but I have a pretty good idea. And no, it was not. It was not because he has a kid on the way. If that was the case, then why was he on the card to begin with? If he did not want to work the Survivor Series because he's got a kid, by the way, which I don't understand why that has anything to do with it. I don't understand why that has anything to do with it, because you're pretty much saying, without saying, that Rollins is equivalent to Billy Kay. He's afraid of breaking a fucking nail. He's a pussy. Which he is a pussy on social media, but now you're pretty much saying he's a pussy on social media and in the ring? This had nothing to fucking do with the fact that he's got a kid on the way. What was the fucking point of even having him on the card then if he wanted to get eliminated because he's got a fucking kid on the way? Again, you're comparing him and you're lining him up with fucking Billy Kay. He's afraid of breaking a nail. He's afraid of getting one of his hair strands pulled out of his luxurious mane. Rollins specifically did this. I guarantee you, I will bet the money in my checking in my bank account that Rollins did this specifically because he did not want to get in the ring with Matt Riddle. He did not want to work this match because of Matt Riddle, because Seth Rollins is nothing more than a petty bitch. I love what Seth Rollins does in the ring. I love the Monday Night Messiah, the Friday Night Messiah character, whatever you call it. But the level of pettiness with Seth Rollins, the way that he conducts himself, is just absolutely piss poor. The way that he conducts himself backstage, yet a lot of people look at him as a locker room leader. A lot of people on social media even say that he's a locker room leader. This guy ain't a fucking locker room leader. This guy's a fucking jerk-off. This guy is an absolute fucking jerk-off. Don't give me the bullshit that he did this because of his kid coming. Do not give me that bullshit. Oh my God, the baby's gonna look at him. Oh, he's got a black eye. Oh, the baby's gonna look at him. Oh my God, I can't hold my kid because I got a sprained wrist. I got a sprained shoulder. Don't give me that bullshit. Don't even test me. So, Strowman then bulldozed everyone. Strowman Express. I wish the Strowman Express would drive right off of a cliff into the Atlantic Ocean. So, we had some back and forth between Otis and Keith Lee. Owens got tagged in. He picked up the pace. He went on a stunner frenzy. Stunner to Lee, stunner to Sheamus, stunner to Riddle. Styles then came off the top of the phenomenal forearm, and Owens got eliminated. Corbin, then with the end of days to Styles, but Team Raw broke that up. Styles with a Pele kick. Tag to Riddle. Riddle with the floating bro. And Corbin got eliminated. Thankfully, Matt Riddle actually looked fairly decent here. Matt Riddle got an elimination, which I can appreciate. Otis then came in. He was delivering exploder suplexes to Riddle, Sheamus, and Styles. Strowman and Otis had a face-off. Strowman caught a slam by Otis. The Caterpillar connected. Strowman then with a power slam to Otis, and Otis got eliminated. Riddle and Uso then went back and forth. Uso was the final man. Uso then with a plancha taking out the field. Uso with a super kick to Styles before his associate, Jordan Omaga Hamada, however the fuck you pronounce his last name. I don't know how you fucking pronounce his last name. So his associate saved him. Tagged to Keith Lee. Keith Lee caught Jey Uso mid-splash and hit a spirit bomb, and Keith Lee got the win for Team Raw. I am happy that Keith Lee got the win for Team Raw. That I am not going to complain about. I'm happy that they made Keith Lee get the final pinfall. I don't know if that's going to result in anything for Keith Lee. I doubt it. But no matter whether or not Keith Lee got the final pinfall, this was one of the most poorly booked. Matter of fact, not even one of. This was the most poorly booked Survivor Series match that I think I have ever seen as a wrestling fan. And I have watched a lot of Survivor Series matches. This was the most poorly booked Survivor Series match that I think I have ever seen. The wrestling was not even that bad. It was nothing special. The wrestling that we got was nothing special. But in the end, the booking absolutely killed this match. You had turmoil on Monday Night Raw's side, and they come back, and they have a clean sweep over SmackDown, and they beat SmackDown 5-0. Clean sweep. They don't have one member of their team eliminated. I don't know what the purpose of this was. I have an idea, though. I guarantee you this was a Bruce Pritchard idea to get back at Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman doesn't even have any creative control over SmackDown other than with Roman Reigns and the storyline that he's got going on with Jey Uso. But just because that Paul Heyman's on SmackDown, I guarantee you that this was nothing more than Bruce Pritchard wanting to get back at Paul Heyman and just shove it right in Paul Heyman's face after the smarky comment that Paul Heyman made a week and a half ago on SmackDown when Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre were cutting that promo on each other before Drew won the WWE title from Orton. This had Bruce Pritchard pettiness, Vince McMahon pettiness against Paul Heyman written all over it. Just because Paul Heyman is associated with SmackDown. They wanted to have Team Raw sweep Team SmackDown just to give a big old birdie to Paul Heyman. Absolutely disgusting. The booking of this match was undoubtedly the worst booking that I've ever seen for a Survivor Series match. It did nothing. It did nothing to build up any new stars. It did nothing to make anyone look strong. The only thing that it did right was Keith Lee getting an elimination and Keith Lee getting the final elimination. That is all the positive that came out of this match. That's it. Absolutely terrible. New day. versus the Street Profits, Raw Tag Team Champions versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Now, up until this point, the pay-per-view was an absolute waste of time, and the pay-per-view was a poorly booked mess. But this match definitely got things off on the right foot. This match was a great tag team match. Profits and New Day work very, very well together. Montez, he was isolated. He got taken out by a plancha by Kofi. Montez then with a jumping DDT, and he was able to make the tag to Dawkins. Dawkins was lighting up both members of the New Day. We had a double underhook into a swinging neck breaker, almost a double underhook final cut, which looked very good. That got a 2 count on Woods. We had an assisted sliced bread on Woods by the Profits for a 2 count. Woods then took out Angelo Dawkins, and we got the Midnight Hour by the New Day, but Ford was able to kick out. We had Kofi Kingston with 3 boom drops to Montez Ford, so the ribs became the story of this matchup. Dawkins saved Ford. The tag was made. We had the cash out connecting, but Ford played up the ribs. The ribs caused him to stall. He hit the cash out. He hit the frog splash, part of the cash out, but Ford was holding his ribs. He couldn't make the cover because of his ribs. He made the cover too late, and Kofi was able to kick out. I like that little aspect. Very nice story told right there. Woods then came in with a missile dropkick, sending Dawkins out of the ring. Ford then hit a Trouble in Paradise on Kofi. Yes, Montez Ford with the Trouble in Paradise on Kofi. Woods then with a beautiful military press gutbuster on Ford, but Ford was able to stay alive. So Ford was on the top. Xavier Woods was going for a superplex. Dawkins made the blind tag, and we got an electric chair blockbuster combo by the Street Profits. Beautifully done, and the Street Profits get the win over the New Day. This was a great tag team match. The Profits looked great. The New Day looked great in defeat. And I swear to God, it absolutely boggles my mind why WWE won't get behind tag team wrestling. How they think that this is not going to draw. This is the shit that we should be seeing every week with tag teams on Raw and SmackDown. If we see this shit every week, then I guarantee you more and more people will be interested, and the show itself will be a hell of a lot better, and the ratings will go up slowly but surely. If you start doing this every week and you create a sense of consistency with tag teams like this, obviously you gotta get some fucking tag teams because you only got 3 tag teams on both Raw and SmackDown. But this is the shit that we should be seeing every single week. It absolutely boggles my mind that WWE just won't get behind tag team wrestling. They don't get behind anything. They barely get behind anything. It boggles my mind how we get a great tag team match like this. This may go down as probably the best tag team match in the WWE all year. This may go down as the best tag team match in the WWE all year. I can't remember one tag team match from this past year that I can tell you was a memorable tag team match. This was actually memorable. And for a good majority of the show, this was the match of the night, at least until the main event. It absolutely boggles my mind why WWE won't get behind tag team wrestling. We should be seeing this every week on Raw and SmackDown. The Street Profits win. Absolutely the right outcome. The Street Profits absolutely needed this. They looked great. They looked absolutely great. Montez Ford looked like a beast, selling his ribs, and he came back from that rib injury, and he ended up helping his partner, Angelo Dawkins, win the match. Afterwards, they shake. They show signs of respect, and that was that. Great tag team match. And for the majority of the show, up until the main event, like I said, this was the match of the night. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, United States Champion versus Intercontinental Champion. This was an absolute joke. This was an absolute joke. And I do not believe that WWE allowed this to happen. I really don't. So, let's go over what happened in the match before we absolutely shit all over this. So, Sami Zayn was running away. Lashley followed. Zayn tried to clothesline Lashley, but Lashley ran right through it. He started to slowly dissect Zayn. Zayn tried to leave before Shelton stopped him from getting the Intercontinental title and leaving. Zayn continued to be a chicken shit. Lashley with a shoulder tackle and a neck breaker. Lashley then with a vertical suplex. Sami then faked having vertigo. He continued to taunt the Hurt Business. He tried for a roll-up on Lashley. That only got a 2 count. Not even a 2 count, just a 1. Lashley was then sent into the post. Zayn tried to take advantage. Zayn tried to take the turnbuckle pad off, but the Hurt Business stopped him. We had a pop-up spinebuster by Lashley. MVP then stopped Zayn from leaving, threw him back in the ring. Bobby Lashley locked in the Hurt Lock, and Zayn tapped out. Zayn got all but 5% of offense in this match. He got all but 5% of offense throughout this entire match. This match didn't even go 10 minutes. Lashley completely fucking squashed Sami Zayn. You booked this match. This is a match from 2.5 years ago that we saw at Money in the Bank, and it was a waste of time then, it was a waste of time now. Only back then, Lashley was a babyface and Sami Zayn was a heel. Now they're 2 heels. WWE, and I'm not sure if they knew what they were doing. They probably didn't, because they do not plan ahead. They do not think ahead. They had no idea what was going on. They were booking on a hour-to-hour basis with these shows on Raw and SmackDown. So they didn't even know what was going down at Survivor Series. You booked this match with Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn, 2 heels. Meanwhile, if you would actually had thought and planned ahead, what you could have realized is you could have had an actual decent match between your mid-card champions if you had kept the title on Apollo Crews. And the only reason why Bobby Lashley is the United States champion is because A, you wanted to undo everything Paul Heyman did with Apollo Crews, and you gave the title to Lashley, and 2, Lashley wasn't winning the WWE Championship, and he was supposed to get a match with Lesnar at SummerSlam, but that didn't happen because Lesnar didn't want to work these shows in front of nobody but PC recruits and virtual fans. So you gave Bobby Lashley the United States Championship as a consolation prize. Meanwhile, if you had kept the title on Apollo Crews, you could have gotten Apollo versus Sami. That would have been a fairly decent mid-card match. Or maybe if you would have built up Matt Riddle to take the U.S. title off of Bobby Lashley, maybe you could have gotten Matt Riddle and Sami Zayn. That would have been an interesting concept. Or, how about this? How about we talk about the fact that Sami Zayn is merely the Intercontinental Champion because they got Jeff Hardy to sign a 5-year deal, and we all know what happens when WWE signs someone to a 5-year deal. They put them in a title scenario, they put a title on them, and then once they sign a 5-year deal, they take the title off them because now they have no use for them anymore, because they already bought and chained them into a contract for the next half a decade. And that's exactly what they did with Jeff Hardy. They put the title on Zayn because now that Jeff Hardy signed a new deal, they have no use for Jeff Hardy anymore. And now they're going to book Jeff Hardy like a complete joke, which they have been for God knows how long now. You put the title on Sami Zayn specifically because of the fact that you had Jeff Hardy sign a 5-year deal, and you had no use for him anymore. Now he's jobbing to Lars Sullivan. Now he's facing Elias in fucking guitars on poles matches. I don't understand. I really don't understand. How hard is it to plan ahead for the Survivor Series? You had an easy out with Apollo versus Sami and Matt Riddle versus Sami. Or how about this? How about you not take the title off of Jeff Hardy? You could have done Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Lashley, where you would actually have had a proud, credible babyface to go up against the dominant heel like Bobby Lashley. Maybe that would have enhanced Bobby Lashley just a little bit because you got a great babyface in Jeff Hardy. So WWE realized they had this, and Sami Zayn gets absolutely squashed. Well, looks like Sami Zayn and his big mouth on Twitter got him in trouble. If you know what I mean, because Sami Zayn has been very vocal about his dislike for President Trump. We all know that Vince McMahon is pretty friendly with Mr. President Trump there. Maybe Sami Zayn should keep his big fat mouth shut when it comes to politics on social media. Sami Zayn's a fucking idiot when it comes to politics. I'm just pointing that out there. The guy's an absolute fucking moron when it comes to politics. The guy is a libtard, if I had ever seen one. But that doesn't mean that he deserves to be treated like this. Nobody deserves to be treated like this. But if you're going to treat him like this, then get the fucking title off of him. If you're going to treat Sami Zayn like this, I swear to God, I was praising the way that they were booking Sami Zayn from the moment that he came back. He put on a great match with AJ Styles. Great ladder match in which he used his brain in that match. He wasn't a chicken shit. He was actually an intelligent babyface. He wasn't running away. He was actually fucking wrestling. He was actually going out there and fighting. He was fighting like a proud champion, and he won the Intercontinental title back. He had a great match with Jeff Hardy on SmackDown, and I'm like, wow, they're actually booking Sami Zayn like a champion. But now, over the last month, you've reverted back to booking Sami Zayn like the uncredible chicken shit heel that you were booking him going into his match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania earlier this year. If you are going to book someone like a chicken shit, then they should not be a champion. It is all in the character. It is all in the booking. Doesn't matter whether you have a championship or a briefcase or the title of Soul Survivor or the Royal Rumble winner. If your character is not booked with a sense of credibility, then it means absolutely nothing. And you have absolutely killed everything that Sami Zayn was. He is a fucking moron when it comes to politics. I know this. He is a fucking idiot. But you have absolutely no right to take out your pettiness out on Sami Zayn on television. Sami Zayn, no matter how stupid he is when it comes to politics, he is one of the best things on the main roster right now. He is an absolute gem. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and you are not even giving him the opportunity of showcasing what he can really do as the Intercontinental Champion. I was actually excited when he won the title back. I wasn't even complaining when he won the title back, and I actually wanted to see if WWE would actually book him with a sense of credibility, and they were actually doing a fairly decent job, and then you absolutely killed everything. You kept him off of television, then you had him face Apollo Crews, and then you had him run away like a chicken shit after he got his ass kicked for 3 minutes, only to tie up Apollo Crews in the ropes that hold the ring mat down, and you have him retain the title via countout, and then here, he's running away for 35% of the match, and when he's not running away, he's getting his ass kicked for the other 60% of the match, and 5% he gets in a little bit of offense. A punch here, a roll up there, a slap here, a chop there, a kick here, a kick there, but ultimately you squash the Intercontinental Champion. If this is how you're going to book him, get the title off of him. Get the title off of him. Vince McMahon's pettiness was on full display throughout this entire night. If there's one thing that was on full display this entire night, we got some damn good wrestling here and there, but if there was one thing that was on full display this entire night, it was Vince McMahon's pettiness. And don't even get me started. I'm gonna talk about what we saw in the women's match. Trust me on that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We will talk about that in a little bit, but it is absolutely fucking disgusting how petty Vince McMahon is. I don't care. I don't care how friendly you are with the president. I don't care how stupid Sami Zayn is. You do not take out your pettiness on someone on live television. You are in charge of putting out a show worthy of people paying their money to view it. There is a fine line. There is a fine line between personal feelings and business. Take your personal feelings and put them on the other side of the line. Focus on business. Now you wonder why the ratings keep on sinking. You wonder why the interest in your product is continuously dropping, and you wonder why nobody cares. You wonder why you're losing money. You wonder why you don't have enough money to pay fucking Zelina Vega and she's making more money on Twitch. It's because of shit like this. Undoubtedly the worst match of the night. Moving on from that absolute joke of a match, we had Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Asuka and Sasha Banks, they work very, very well together. They have excellent chemistry. It is impossible for them to put on a bad showing. They are absolutely incapable of having a bad match. This was a very, very, very good women's match. The women, I actually got to say, right here, I'm going to say it flat out, straight up, and I can say this with confidence, both women's matches, the women's match between Sasha Banks and Asuka was better than the mid-card match between Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. And I'll even go as far as to say that the women's Survivor Series match was leagues better than the men's Survivor Series match. So for all you cocksuckers, for all you assholes, for all you trolls that wanna come at me on social media and come into my chat, DJ Storms is a sexist. He's a sexist. He's so evil. He's a sexist pig. He's a misogynist, sexist pig. I'm telling you right now that both women's matches were better than Lashley and Zayn and the men's Survivor Series match. So you can take that sexist remark and shove it up your ass. Very, very good women's match right here between Asuka and Sasha Banks. They had very good chemistry. Both women countered each other early with roll-ups and submission holds. We had Asuka with a hip attack, sending Sasha off the apron. Banks with a baseball slide dropkick. We had Banks jumping onto the barricade, and we had her going for a meteor off the barricade, but Asuka caught her in a code breaker. Both women then beat the 10 count into the ring. Banks was on the attack with a backstabber, but Asuka was able to kick out. We had a meteor in the corner. Banks then blocked the double knee counter from Asuka and locked her in the bank statement. Asuka then reversed the bank statement, tried for the Asuka lock. Sasha was then tied up in the ropes, and Asuka delivered a brutal-looking code breaker off the ropes. Sasha sold the shit out of it. It looked great. But Sasha managed to kick out. We then had some back-and-forth roll-ups. Great back-and-forth sequences from both Sasha and Asuka. Asuka then with a big roundhouse kick to Asuka. Asuka ran off the ropes, but she was caught in a roll-up by Sasha. Sasha hooked the legs in a tight roll-up, and Sasha Banks gets the win. Sasha Banks defeats Asuka after a very, very good back-and-forth women's match. They did a very good job. They have great chemistry, and it sucks. It really does suck that this feud was absolutely beaten to death, because I feel as though these women could have done a lot more, and this match would have been a hell of a lot more special if they didn't beat the feud to death over the course of the summer, and we didn't see this match 3 times within the course of a month back at the Horror Show at Extreme Rules, and then on Raw, and then on SummerSlam. But this was a very, very, very good women's match, and here's what I loved about this ending. Here's what I loved about what they're doing with Sasha. And I like that there was no interference. I was dreading Carmella coming out and doing a 4th attack on Sasha. I was actually dreading Carmella coming out to attack Asuka. Or not Asuka, Sasha rather. Sasha. And I thought that Asuka was going to win. I actually picked Asuka to win. And I thought that Asuka was going to beat Sasha because of an interference from Carmella, but Sasha ended up getting the win. And I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad about that. I'm not even mad because of the simple fact that the story that they're telling with this new version of Sasha Banks is how Sasha is coming into her own and she's finally finding her footing and she can succeed on her own without Bayley. Because Bayley was hyping up Sasha as, oh, you were nothing until I came along. You're nothing without me. You need me, Sasha. You need me. I was the star. But now, Sasha beat Bayley not once, but twice. She finally successfully defended the Women's Championship on her own on the main roster after so many failed title defenses. And on top of that, now she beats Asuka clean. She beats Asuka on her own without the help of Bayley. That is what I love about the story, and for that I can't even complain about that. I picked Asuka to win, but I can't complain because the story that they're telling with Sasha Banks and how she's finally coming into her own and she's finally succeeding without the help of Bayley, the level of consistency with Sasha Banks is there. And I'm very, very happy. I'm very happy that finally, Sasha Banks is being booked somewhat decently on the main roster. I can't complain about that because I've waited for 4 years after so many fucking trashy feuds, trashy matches, trashy booking decisions, and how WWE just mistreated the fuck out of this woman. And she is undoubtedly the best wrestler on the main roster right now, outside of Bianca Belair. Outside of Bianca Belair and Bayley, she's undoubtedly the best women's wrestler that they have on that roster across both Raw and SmackDown. And there is no one that can tell me different. There is no one, absolutely no one that can refute that. And if you refute that, you are the world's biggest dumbass. You are the world's biggest dumbass. Sasha Banks undoubtedly is the best wrestler across both Raw and SmackDown. No, she ain't a botch machine. She brought Asuka to a very good match. Props to Asuka too, but Sasha Banks is just that good. Sasha Banks is just that good. Sasha Banks is finally getting the proper treatment, somewhat, minus the attacks from Carmella. Sasha is finally being booked somewhat decently on the main roster. And this feud with Bayley was great. The match at Hell in a Cell with Bayley was great. The rematch on SmackDown was great. This match with Asuka was very good. And the story being told is that Asuka finally was beaten by Sasha without the help of Bayley. And that I can't complain about. Sasha defeats Asuka in a very good women's match. Team Raw for the women. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, and Lana versus Team SmackDown. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Natalya, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. For starters, like I said, this match, leagues better than the men's Survivor Series match, both in terms of wrestling and in terms of booking. The booking of the women's match was very, very, very well done. And I don't even believe that I'm saying that. I literally expected nothing from this match. The only thing that I was hoping and praying for was that they made Bianca Belair look good in some way, shape, or form. Whether they had her get the most eliminations or whether they had her be the sole survivor. I just hoped in some way, shape, or form that Bianca Belair was going to look good. But in the end of it, I'm actually surprised that they actually made multiple women look decent in this match. Multiple women actually looked fairly good in this match. And I'm actually surprised that they did that. They actually protected a lot of women in this matchup, which I need to give them credit for. This match was being booked perfectly up until the ending. And I'm going to shit on the ending when we get to the ending. But the match itself was very, very, very well produced. And a lot of women got a lot of shine. I wasn't even that bothered by Lacey Evans. And I can't fucking stand Lacey Evans. I wasn't even that bothered by her. I wasn't. I don't even believe that I'm saying that. So, Lana tagged herself in about 5 minutes into the match. We had a tag to Natty. They had a few back and forths. So Lana then was told to stand on the steps. She was told to stand on the steps. She is not to be tagged in. She stood on the steps, and she did not do anything. She did not do anything, and we continued on with the match. So, we had Bayley and Belair working together against Peyton Royce. Before everyone jumped in, everyone started taking everyone out. Bayley, she then got superplexed by Peyton Royce onto everyone. And a lot of people didn't catch Peyton Royce and Bayley. Bayley actually landed pretty hard. Peyton then tossed Bayley into the ring and delivered Deja Vu, the swinging neckbreaker, and Peyton Royce actually eliminated Bayley. Bayley was the first one eliminated. Now that came as a shock to me. But I'm going to be quite honest here. Peyton Royce didn't even look half bad. Peyton Royce didn't even look half bad in this match. She didn't botch. She almost looked like she was actually trying. And I prefer Peyton Royce over fucking Billie Kay, undoubtedly. Billie Kay is a fucking cancer. Billie Kay is AIDS to the women's division. Peyton Royce, she was actually decent in NXT, but she fell flat along the way on the main roster because of shit booking. But now, I can definitely see that she's actually starting to try a little bit more. Just a little bit. She's nowhere near where she needs to be. She's nowhere near where everyone is praising her to be at. She's not a superstar. Furthest thing from a fucking superstar, but she actually looked fairly decent in this match. And I don't even believe that I'm saying that. She hit the Deja Vu on Bayley, which looked fairly decent, and she pinned Bayley. Is this going to result in anything for Peyton Royce? Probably fucking not, but that's fucking huge for Peyton Royce. And I'm not sure if that was a Bayley call. I'm not sure if Bayley wanted to do the job for Peyton Royce, but if so, then I gotta give her credit. I gotta give her credit for being selfless. Bayley definitely wants to see the women's division succeed, and Peyton Royce actually looked fairly decent here from time to time. She pinned Bayley. I wasn't even that bothered by it. They actually made Peyton Royce look fairly decent. I don't believe that Peyton Royce actually got a decent showing in this match. I hope it continues. And I hope Peyton Royce puts on some decent matches. I hope she proves me wrong. I want her to prove me wrong. This was a decent start. Let's see if they can continue the momentum. But I doubt it. So Bayley was the first one eliminated. We then had Natty locking in the sharpshooter on Royce, and Royce tapped out. Lacey Evans then missed the moonsault on Natalya. We had a women's right on Natalya as she tried to lock in the sharpshooter on Shayna Baszler. But Lacey Evans connected with a women's right, and Lacey Evans eliminated Natalya. So Bianca Belair then hit a glam slam on Evans. She went up to the top rope. She was looking for a 450 before she was distracted by Baszler. Lacey Evans then cut her off. On the top rope, and Lacey Evans delivered a Spanish fly on Bianca Belair, which actually looked fairly decent. Surprised that Lacey Evans was able to pull it off. Lacey Evans actually had some decent moves here. She had a decent moonsault. She had a decent Spanish fly. But outside of that, she's fucking terrible. So Lacey Evans with a beautiful Spanish fly on Belair. The Riot Squad saved it. Riot Squad then tried to chop down Baszler and Jax. We had Riot getting kneed by Baszler, and then Riot was locked in the Karafuda clutch. She tried for a pin. She actually reversed the Karafuda clutch, and she got a pin on Shayna Baszler, but Nia Jax was distracting the ref. Ruby Riot got the pin. She got the 1-2-3, but the ref was caught up with Nia Jax, and Riot actually passed out. Yes, Riot actually passed out because of the Karafuda clutch. They actually protected Ruby Riot. She passed out because of the Karafuda clutch, and we ended up having Shayna Baszler pin Ruby Riot afterwards. Ruby Riot looked good in the sense that she did not tap out. So they protected Ruby Riot in that sense. So Ruby Riot was eliminated. SmackDown was down 4-2, I believe it was. We then had Lacey Evans on the receiving end of Liv Morgan's offense. Liv Morgan, who I adore, by the way. Liv Morgan was pissed. She hit a crucifix bomb on Lacey, which actually looked pretty good. Liv Morgan's actually coming along very, very well. Lacey was eliminated. Liv Morgan got a nice elimination there. Nia came in. She Samoan dropped Liv, and Liv was eliminated. Bianca Belair was now the sole survivor for SmackDown. This was the moment of truth for Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair. She routed Nia Jax. She did backflips over Nia Jax. She was then locked in the Karafuda clutch by Baszler. She did a handspring. Baszler caught her in the Karafuda clutch. Looked great. Baszler was wrenching on the head. Belair was almost at the rope. She was almost at the bottom rope. And she just collapsed onto the bottom rope. And she was already out. Shayna Baszler said she was out. She was out. So she didn't release the hold. And Baszler ended up getting disqualified because she didn't release the hold. They protected Shayna Baszler, which I absolutely love. They protected Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler was not pinned. Shayna Baszler was not pinned. And Shayna Baszler was disqualified because she didn't release the hold because she thought that Belair was out. So the ref was supposed to call the match, but Belair ended up collapsing on the rope. Belair was looking like an absolute star in this match. Shayna Baszler was eliminated via DQ, so now we were down to Nia and Bianca. They were brawling on the outside and they were going back and forth. They were both counted out, and Lana was declared the sole survivor. This woman, outside of that one tag, did absolutely nothing. This woman did nothing and you have her declared as the sole survivor. You have her go off and do nothing, just stand on the steps, and everyone else in that match, worked their fucking asses off. And you have Bianca and Nia both counted out, and Lana's declared the sole survivor. I'm surprised she didn't go through a table. We'll see what happens tonight. More likely than not, she'll go through a table for a 10th time tonight. But you have Lana as the sole survivor after she did nothing, all for the simple fact that you just can't get over Miro going to All Elite Wrestling. So you have Lana do nothing. Lana does nothing, and all of these other women absolutely kill themselves in that match. Even the women that I can't fucking stand, like Nia and Peyton and Lacey, they worked their fucking ass off in that match. And you have Lana reap the benefits for doing nothing because Shayna got disqualified, and then Nia and Bianca Belair get counted out. Thank fucking Christ Bianca wasn't pinned. I'm glad that she wasn't pinned, and I'm glad that Bianca looked great at certain points in this match, but you had one job. You had one job to make Bianca look great, and you had one job to give her the title of being the sole survivor, but Bianca and Nia get counted out, and Lana's declared the sole survivor for the simple fact of her doing nothing, standing on the fucking steps, and just because of a technicality, Lana's declared the winner and the sole survivor. That ending was one of the most embarrassing endings to a Survivor Series match that I've ever seen, and I really do not believe WWE's mentality. I don't understand how you can have a great match, and this is not the first time WWE's done this. How can you have a great fucking match, and the ending absolutely undoes everything that everyone in the match worked so hard to build? Everyone in that match busted their fucking asses. They put on a better match than the men. And all because of the simple fact that you want to shove it in Miro's face. You have his wife go through table after table every week. She'll probably go through a table tonight. And now you have her be declared the sole survivor for absolutely doing nothing but standing on the fucking steps. WWE absolutely fucked everything up. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even fucking matter how good everyone else looked in that match. It doesn't matter if Peyton looked good. It doesn't matter if Ruby looked good. It doesn't matter if Liv looked good. It doesn't matter if Bianca looked good. And Bianca looked the best out of everyone. She is your Royal Rumble winner and the woman to take the title off of Sasha at WrestleMania 37. And you have Lana, who we don't fucking care about, who a lot of people actually wish was released on Black Wednesday back in April, including myself. No disrespect to Lana, but still. She's a waste of roster space. She is a waste of a paycheck. And you have her be declared the sole survivor simply because of Miro going to All Elite Wrestling. Just because you want to shove it in Miro's face. Look what your wife did. It's going to go down in the record books that Lana was the sole survivor. Completely erasing and overshadowing everything that all 10, well really 9, all 9 of the other women did to make that match something of substance, a match that no one was expecting anything of, and it turned out to be probably one of the best matches of the night. It turned out to be probably the best booked match of the night. At least until the ending. Absolutely disgusting, absolutely embarrassing, absolutely inexcusable. No one gives a shit about Lana. No one gave a shit about Lana before this. No one's going to give a shit about Lana after this. I don't give a shit about the Chronicle. I don't give a shit about any type of social media trolls that she has to go through. I don't give a shit about this. I don't give a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit about Lana. She is terrible in the ring. She is terrible on the mic. She is a waste of a paycheck. She's a waste of roster space. No one cares, and the only reason why people are laughing and the only reason why people have any pity on Lana is because of Miro going to All Elite Wrestling, and they don't want to see Vince McMahon take out his pettiness on Lana. This was pettiness towards Miro written all over it. Vince McMahon and his pettiness on full display tonight. Great Survivor Series match, absolutely ruined overshadowed and undone by this shit outcome. Absolutely terrible. We had the main event match, specifically. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, WWE Champion versus Universal Champion. This was undoubtedly one of the best matches of the year. And I did not expect that going into this. I thought it was going to be a great match. I didn't think it was going to be one of the best matches of the year. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, they showed up to work. They showed up to work and they worked their fucking asses off. As if they were fighting in the main event of WrestleMania. These two brought everything into this match. They were fighting this match as if it was their last fucking match. And you gotta give it to these guys. I did not expect this match to be this good. And Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, it only further proves my point that if this was the match that we got at WrestleMania 35, if we had the correct characters with Drew playing the proud babyface, Roman playing the cocky heel at WrestleMania 35, this match would have been one of the best matches of WrestleMania 35. This match was an excellent, excellent match. This may go down as the best main roster match of the year. This may go down as the best main roster match of the year. It gave Edge and Orton at Backlash. Now, that was not the greatest wrestling match ever. It was a great wrestling match, but it wasn't the greatest wrestling match ever. But that was in a lot of people's eyes, the best main roster wrestling match of the year. This may have taken the cake. This was an awesome, awesome match. Match of the night, absolutely, and one of the best matches of the year. Probably one of the best matches in this pandemic era of wrestling. So Reigns took over control. He started to wear down Drew. We had a big jumping clothesline for a 2. Drew then started to mount the comeback. We had a huge belly-to-belly throw. Roman was fucking launched by Drew. It looked great. Neck breaker connected and a kip up. Reigns stopped the Claymore with a Samoan drop. That got a 2 count on Drew. Drew reversed the Superman punch. Roman came off the ropes and Drew delivered a beautiful spine buster for 2. Drew McIntyre then sent Reigns into the barricade, the post, and the steps. Reigns then kicked the middle rope into Drew McIntyre's balls. Reigns then came back and started talking trash to Drew. He booted Drew in the face. Drew then booted him back. Reigns went for a Superman punch, but Drew reversed it into a Future Shock DDT. Great stuff right there. That only got a 2. Drew then went for the Claymore, but Roman delivered a Superman punch. Drew McIntyre was then locked in the guillotine, but he reversed it with a beautiful belly-to-belly overhead throw. Reigns then sent Drew into the post. Drew then reversed the spear into a Fujiwara armbar. Beautiful counter. Such fluidity by Drew McIntyre. And we had Roman getting to the bottom rope. Roman then was able to roll to the outside. Drew McIntyre ran at Roman, but Roman then Samoan dropped Drew on the table. Reigns then put Drew through the announce table, so the announce table actually broke. And no, it wasn't because of Lana, it was because of Drew McIntyre. So from there we got Roman breaking the count, and then he launched himself from the apron and speared Drew through the barricade that was behind the announce table. Drew McIntyre speared into oblivion, speared into another fucking dimension. Roman then rolled him back in the ring, but Drew kicked out. Drew then was going for the Claymore, but Roman countered with another spear, but Drew kicked out again. So that's 2 spears that Drew kicked out of. Roman went for a 3rd spear, but Drew caught him with a Claymore, but knocked Roman into the referee. And at this point, Jey Uso started to come out. McIntyre tried to knock him down. He knocked him down. Reigns then hit him with a low blow. Ref was not anywhere to be seen. Super kick by Jey. Superman punch by Roman, and then Roman locked in the guillotine. Drew was trying to fight it. Another referee came down, and Drew passed out. Drew passed out, and Roman Reigns wins this match. And then afterwards, Jey and Roman, they then embraced on the ramp after Jey had a rough night, after he was eliminated and he lost, and he was not on good terms with Roman. Now they're back on good terms. This was undoubtedly one of the best matches that we will see all year. Excellent, excellent stuff. Absolute fucking war between Roman and McIntyre. And it really does go to show you, when you have the correct guys in the correct roles, then they are going to put on an excellent match. And the story being told here was excellent. Excellent in-ring work. The character portrayal from both men was picture perfect. And above all else, Drew McIntyre was protected. A lot of protection from a lot of superstars tonight. Keith Lee was protected. We had Ruby Riott getting protected. Bianca Belair was protected. She didn't take the pinfall. She still lost the match. It was an embarrassing ending. They fucked up making Bianca into a star, but at least she wasn't pinned. Bianca looked good. Sasha was protected. And Drew McIntyre, above all people, Drew McIntyre was the one most protected here. He was not pinned. He was not submitted. He passed out. Goes to show you how proud of a champion Drew McIntyre really is. And it was because of the interference from Jey Uso in a low blow that caused Roman Reigns to ultimately win the match. Great, great match. Match of the night. Definitely one of the best matches of the year. And it was an excellent match to close the wrestling portion of Survivor Series. Then we had The Undertaker Final Farewell. Although I'm not sure how much of a final farewell it was. A very lackluster final farewell. But we had a lot of The Undertaker's friends and co-workers coming out to greet him. We had Shane McMahon, Big Show, JBL, Jeff Hardy, Mick Foley, who's another fucking idiot when it comes to politics on social media. I'm just in a piss-poor mood. Man, I can't fucking wait until Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani. I can't wait till the election's fucking overturned. And all these liberals are fucking crying. Godfather, the Godwins, who were part of the Ministry of Darkness, Savio Vega, Rikishi, Kevin Nash, here we go, another fucking libtard, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Triple H, and Kane. We then had a beautiful Undertaker career highlight package with Metallica playing in the background. Beautifully put together. Mr. McMahon was in the ring. He said, 3 decades, this man has struck terror into hearts and entertained the global audience. Tonight marks the end of a storied career. Tonight we say goodbye. He looked like a fucking zombie, Vince McMahon. He looked terrible. But regardless of how terrible he looked, he did look like he was about to cry. It really does show you how much love Vince McMahon has for Mark Calloway. Now I give you the dead man, the phenom, ladies and gentlemen, The Undertaker. So we had an electronic piano and lighting for The Undertaker's theme. Undertaker made his entrance. They piped in Undertaker chants, which were terrible. Cringeworthy as hell. We then had The Undertaker taking the mic and he says, for 30 long years, I made a slow walk down to this ring and laid people to rest time and time again. And now my time has come. We had piped in thank you Taker chants. Cringeworthy. He says, my time has come to let The Undertaker rest in peace. So he does his kneeling pose with an electronic standstill of Paul Bearer. He then stood up and he exited the ring. He began to walk up the ramp. He looked back. He did his signature arm pose. And he walked back. And that was that. I don't know if it's truthfully all over for Mr. Calloway. I really don't know. With what's going on with Vince McMahon, you know for a fact that I would assume Mark Calloway wants to make his final farewell and do the final retirement of the dead man in front of an actual audience, not a virtual crowd. I was actually surprised that nothing happened here. This actually surprised me. This surprised me more than Lana not going through a table after the Survivor Series match that she was in. No Fiend, no Karrion Kross, no AJ Styles, no nobody. This was very, very shocking. I was not expecting nothing to happen. We were all anticipating something to happen. Now it could be Vince McMahon fucking with us. We could eventually see The Undertaker go forth and he could fight someone at WrestleMania 37. Possibly, I don't know. But it really did look like he was done. I'd like to believe that he's done, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. Nothing happened. Nothing happened here. The Undertaker came out, said a few words, and that was that. Came out, said a few words. We had a great video package. We had all these legends, all these people who were great friends with The Undertaker, and that was that. And The Undertaker is retired. The Undertaker rests in peace. I don't know where this is leading. I don't really know how to feel about this either. The celebration felt very lackluster. I don't really know where to begin. I don't really know how to feel. I don't know if anything's going to happen. I don't know. High unpredictability factor, and not really the good kind, because Undertaker, he really doesn't need to do anything else. He really doesn't need to do anything else, and I think a lot of people are content with The Undertaker leaving. But all in all, good luck to Mark Calloway in the post years of his career. I really do hope that he has found clarity. I do really hope that this is the final farewell and Mark Calloway is just able to live the rest of his life peacefully as a regular Texan, a regular human being. That was your Survivor Series review. Overall, decent show. Nothing crazy. We did get 3 standout matches. We got the Profits and the New Day in an excellent tag team match. We got Sasha and Asuka in a very good match. We got Drew and Roman in a match of the year candidate. So those 3 matches alone definitely made the Survivor Series watchable, fairly watchable. It was a fairly decent pay-per-view. Nothing over the top, nothing overbearing. We did get a match of the year candidate, an excellent tag team match, a very good women's match. Keith Lee got the final pinfall in the Survivor Series match. Bianca Belair looked great here and there. Peyton Royce looked decent. Ruby Riott looked decent. Liv Morgan looked decent. We got just enough positives to pit this out as a decent pay-per-view. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'll probably give this a 5, a 5.5 out of 10. That was pretty much that. You're really not going to get anything overbearing. You're really not going to get anything overwhelmingly good with the main roster. So, decent is a fair price to ask for. We did get some decent wrestling on the show, even though ultimately it will go down as the most meaningless show of the year because nothing was on the line, nothing was at stake, nothing hung in the balance. So what was the point of these brand warfare matches? It's because WWE was lazy. We'll see what happens on Monday Night Raw. We are on the road to TLC, which is on the 20th. On the 20th of December. I actually thought they were going to do it on the 13th, but apparently they're not doing that right after a TakeOver. We got TakeOver War Games on the 6th, so it gives us a nice little break. Before we eventually get to the TLC pay-per-view, the final pay-per-view of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. Thank you very much for tuning in to the video. Check all the links in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to head to work. And then I got to get on some finals. I'll be tweeting for Raw tonight. I will be live tweeting for Raw. I'll be note-taking for Raw. Please join me. I would greatly appreciate it if you would join me. I am going to be here. I am going to be shitting all over Raw like I usually do. I'm going to be shitting on T-Balls and Disgrace and who else? Applejack. I'll be shitting on the constant rematches between Drew and Orton. Should we get a constant rematch? God, I fucking hope not. I'll shit on Braun Strowman. I'll shit on the piss-poor booking of AJ Styles, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, and plenty more. I'll shit on Elias for being a fucking idiot because he thought Jeff Hardy hit him with a car. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I will be here tweeting for Monday Night Raw. I will not be posting another video until Saturday, but please enjoy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Please stay safe. Please enjoy Thanksgiving. Please relax. Take a load off. Put your feet up. relax during the holiday season. I will see you on Saturday for the live Lightning Flash update, and I will see you next week as well for a rundown next Friday, not this Friday coming up, but the rundown for NXT TakeOver War Games, in which I will reveal my guest very, very soon. I'm going to be having a guest. Do not worry. Do not worry. But you guys have an awesome, 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 awesome night, although it's impossible to enjoy Raw. That was your Rewind for Survivor Series, and I will catch you later.